So in the first Speakdom I did for Speakdom Saturday, I left a pinned comment where I asked for topic suggestions, anything you want me to talk about, and two were close to the top, and they were very, very similar. Johnny Smith and Adam Parker. Johnny Smith wrote, "Thanks for making this video. Can you make one about feeling stuck in life or not having a purpose in life?" And then Adam Parker wrote, "Drifting through life without purpose." So the topic of this Speakdom is life without purpose. Now, one thing I will tell you is that I genuinely believe that everybody on earth has a purpose. The problem is that you might not know what that purpose is. You might not find out what it is until you're in your late 20s, until you're in your 30s, 40s. Probably by 50 you should know, or you should have some kind of goal accomplished in life or something that you've done, in your life. But the first thing you have to remember is kind of what I said in that video, is that this is only temporary. You have to, understand that not having a purpose in life is not something that's a permanent kind of situation, even though it may seem that way. The first thing you have to look at is kind of yourself, and one of the things that I suggest everybody do is take a piece of paper, or if you want to do it on your phone or your computer or whatever, and write down 5 things that you like to do, and then write down 5 things that you'd like to do for a living. Because I think the thing about purpose in life, I think that starts with a career. I think that if you have a happy career, I think you can find your purpose, and that's the first thing. I did a whole Speakdom about the Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs, and I feel like once you have a career going, and why it's so important is that when you have a career, you feel more confident in yourself. You have more money to spend. You have more stability. You don't feel so worried about having to make ends meet. So the first thing I would recommend before thinking about getting a girlfriend or having any kids or anything like that is get your career goals at least somewhat situated. Now, obviously, when I was a kid, my goal was never to do YouTube because YouTube didn't exist. When I was a kid, YouTube did not exist. I started college in 2005 is when I started going to college. I graduated high school 3 years prior to that, and I think YouTube didn't really start till '06 or maybe late '05. So when I started going to college and I went there for engineering, there was no YouTube, and you couldn't even make money on YouTube till 2010. So the whole purpose of doing this, quote, for a living didn't even exist back then. What happened with my situation was and I talked about this before, in late 2015, I got fired from my job, never was even told a reason why. And I decided to try to pursue being a YouTuber full time, but I still had the degrees and the certifications and the experience in IT, so that if that flopped, I could always go back. But I wanted to try, and it's funny because there's going to be times in your life more than once where you might feel like you have no purpose. Like, you accomplish something, then something happens where like maybe you lose your job or something very bad happens, a tragedy in your life, a hardship, and you might not have a purpose at that point. But it's only temporary. And the thing you want to focus on is you want to focus on finding something to live for. At some point, you have to stop thinking about it and just do it. And think about what you want to do and what you would like to do and how to get there. When you figure out what it is you want to do, then your next step is, how do I get there? And it might not be easy, and it might take years, but at least you have an end game. Like the Avengers movie, at least you've got an end game. Living without purpose is dangerous. I remember reading a long time ago, I forget where the quote came from, but it was, "The purpose of life is a life of purpose." And like I said, not everybody has that. But one thing that you can do is you can always change your goal and rethink your life and shift to a different direction. I never liked the idea of somebody having a straight and narrow goal and just only sticking to it. I think you should stick to it, but if something else comes along, like I said, YouTube for me, that just kind of comes up from left field and you're like, hey, I want to do this. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind. I think sometimes people are too judgmental over this. Like, oh, you said this, but now you're doing this. Well, yeah, I changed my mind. People can do that. We're allowed to do that as living, breathing, free organisms. We're allowed to do that. And the thing is, it's good to have a purpose early in life, but also be flexible enough to change that purpose. Because I know when I was a kid, I thought being a computer engineer was like the greatest thing ever. And then when I actually got into business, I realized that it was very corporate. It was very kiss assy. It was just, I didn't like it. I wound up loving some of the jobs I had, but I didn't like it. So the thing that you have to remember, people who are successful always have a definite sense of direction. That's one thing I will tell you, but they don't always have it from day one. You have to build to that. So again, if you're out there and you're worried about your purpose in life, it's okay. That's a genuine concern. And the fact that you're worried about it, that's, to me, shows self-awareness that there is a problem. In other words, it's not that you're a deadbeat or you're going to become a deadbeat. You're concerned about becoming a deadbeat. And the fact that you already are thinking about the possibility of that happening, of having no purpose, you definitely, that's already a step in the right direction. You know what I mean? So figure out what your purpose is. I can't tell you what your purpose is. If that's what you're looking for, I can't do that because I don't know you in a personal level. And even if I did, I couldn't tell you what you want to do with your life. But one of the things you should do is do this. Figure out what success means to you. Like, think about what your idea of success is, whether it be a house, a career, whether it be children, a family. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. And then try to create like a mental image of you being successful. So if your goal is to be a musician or to be an artist, like a musical artist, set yourself a goal and create an image of you at a concert, at your concert, in front of like a sold out arena. And if you have that in the back of your mind and that's where you want to go, I think it really, really helps. And I think what you should also do is, if you want to, not everybody should do this, it depends on how you are, you could write this stuff down. Like I said, write down those 5 things that you want to do and 5 things that you love to do. Because if you can make your hobby your career, that's already a great. I mean, I love Dragon Ball, and I'm very blessed that over on Geekdom 101, I can talk about Dragon Ball for a living. I never thought I would. And I've loved Dragon Ball for, over 2 decades now, 25 years. And now I get to talk about it and do it for a career, and I love that. And that's the most important thing. It's not about the money or being popular. I never cared about those things. What matters is that I get to do what I love. And that's what I want everybody to do. I think everybody on earth should do what they love. If you want to be a doctor, look up some medical schools in your area, some good ones. You may have to travel. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do, but the important thing is you got to make sure that when the time comes, get up off your ass and do it. That's the one thing. You don't want to sit around and think about it too much. You want to think about it, write it down, but once you figure out what you want to do, start creating that step. Start working towards getting there. That's the best advice I can give you. I hope that it helps. I really do. Thank you for watching.